Hello, everyone. My name is Mark Anthony with Edge on Regenerative Medicine Show. I wanted to say thank you all for taking a look at our show again. As you all know, we have probably 50% audience, 50% doctors, and of course, 50% people that, of course, are just working people trying to stay healthy. And today I have a special guest, Dr. Paul Barattiero, and he's of synergyscience.com. Make sure you guys jot that down, synergyscience.com. I was really intrigued because he's talking about something that people do not discuss enough about, or somebody doesn't know enough about it, which is water. You know, I was a water guy. I don't want to say that I was anything like Dr. Paul here, but I worked for Culligan Water back in the day, and you know, I knew a little bit something about reverse osmosis, and I think that's about it. But today we're going to be talking about, as you guys see on the screen, it says, could hydrogen water cure gut health? Or are there other solutions? And this is really huge. And I really want you guys to really pay attention here. Dr. Paul's going to be talking about how he got into the water, how hydrogen is a huge benefit to water, and why it's really needed. Some of his top supporters I really look up to is Dr. Josh Axe, Dr. Dan Pompa, and Eli McPherson. And so again, thank you so much, Dr. Paul, for being here.
Yeah, you're welcome. It's my pleasure.
Hey, again, I know I just did a lot of bragging for you, but tell us your story. I was really intrigued with what you're doing. I saw a lot of your commercials, and just last week we started talking, and I was just amazed with your story about your wife. If you wouldn't mind maybe telling us your story, and then we can kind of go in about hydrogen and about why it's important, how they come together with water.
Well, yes, my sweetheart, the love of my life, my wife of 28 years, actually next February will be 29 years. Oh my goodness, right? So my wife was sick for the first 10 years of our marriage, and I didn't know what to do. Doctors didn't know what to do, and just spent time trying to ask questions, trying to understand. And as an end result of all that, I came across the potential or the possibility that water could be a mechanism to help with disease models. Well, she had thyroid issues. She was anemic. She had thyroid issues. She had short-term memory issues. There were so many things, no energy, adrenal. I mean, just on and on it goes. And so what ended up happening is, in the process of trying to learn about water, some friends of mine gave me some water and said, here, try this. This was many years ago, almost 18 years ago now, but it helped her. And I thought, wow, what is going on that water would help her so dramatically? And as I did research, and no one could answer that question. People had all kinds of theories, but what I ended up learning was that hydrogen gas could and did help her. And of course, then I said, well, who else could it help? It's got to help a lot of other people, because my wife can't be the only one. And so, of course, now 17, 18 years later, we are helping many, many people all over the world. And it's been wonderful. But that's what really was my driving force is the love of my life, my wife, my best friend. It was helping her, and then asking the question, who else can we help?
And so, to talk a little bit more about your wife, when did you notice that she started feeling better? Was it right away? Was it a couple months, a year?
So where it happened was on a cruise. So funny enough, some friends of ours brought water on a cruise with them, that they took us with them as a thank you for helping them in their business. And so my wife was just starting her menstrual cycle the first day of that cruise, and she was doubled over in pain. And what that meant was that she was probably going to not see much of that cruise because typically a week every month she'd be in bed and couldn't really get out of bed. And this was a 9-day cruise. So I knew she might get the last 2 days. And so it was kind of a bummer for me. But these friends of ours brought water, and I thought it was the strangest thing. Like, I was like, they have water on the ship, right? Like, and they're like, no, you don't want to drink that water. So long story short, they bring us like a carry-on size suitcase with gallons of water, these like milk jug type things,
Wow.
And I'm like, all right. And so we take our water on the ship. They take their water on the ship. And I drink the water and I'm like, tastes like water to me. I didn't sprout wings and fly or anything. And so I'm like, whatever. Well, my wife, who was doubled over in pain, she was really, really, in pain and we got her to our cabin and she went and laid down. And of course, I'm going to art auctions and coming back. I'm going this and come back. And so she started drinking the water. And within a few minutes, she clenched her fists together and she's like, honey, my body is craving this water. I can't stop drinking. And I'm like, really?
Whoa.
Are you serious? And she's like, yeah. Well, within, I don't know if it was 2 days or 3 days of the cruise, she was up and around and enjoying the cruise fully. And I'm like, wow, what the heck is this? Like, this was crazy. I didn't think she would enjoy any of this cruise. And sure enough, she was up and about and feeling great. And I'm like, wow, this is pretty serious. So I started asking my friends questions and they start telling me all these amazing experiences, and they had no clue medically what was going on, but they're telling me all these experiences that people are, reporting and all this stuff. And I'm going, I have to look into this because it helped my wife. I saw it with my own eyes, So that's really how it happened. And it was quick. It was the same day. It was like within a short amount of time of her drinking the water that she said, my body craves this. I can't stop drinking it. And then within a day or so, she was up and around and doing her thing. And I was like, holy moly, it literally was like a shock to me. So we had been for years dealing with her going and not being able to get out of bed for a week every month. And all of a sudden, she's able to get on a cruise and she's with me in Costa Rica, Panama, all these things.
Wow. That's amazing. One of the things, and what I love to do on our show is to ask things that I know people are thinking. That's part of, I guess, being a presenter.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things is people don't think of hydrogen with water. Oh, we just think of water. We see all these water bottles, $2 to $3 to $5 for just a water bottle. And we don't know which one is even good for us. I mean, how do we choose from all these, not just water bottles, but why hydrogen?
So hydrogen is supposed to be created or made in your gut. Mm-hmm. So we call it flatulence, right? We have flatulence. We know that. And so you have bacteria in your gut and they convert fiber or fatty acids into hydrogen gas in the gut. And the reason being is hydrogen reduces oxidation or manages or modulates oxidation in the body. So when it comes to hydrogen, it's one of the most critical gases in the body because 62% of the body is hydrogen. When we look at the body makeup, it's carbon hydrogen chains. When we start looking at even stuff like HCl, stomach acid, it's hydrochloric acid, hydrogen, HCl. So you got to understand that hydrogen is critical to life, critical to health, and it's mission critical for us and our bodies to function properly. And so it was so important that the creator or engineer of our bodies put a hydrogen generator into our gut that as long as we have our gut functioning properly and we have the right bacteria in the gut, we can convert, like I said earlier, fiber and fatty acids into hydrogen gas. And we should be producing 10 to 12 liters of hydrogen gas per day. So there would be this gas to help and modulate oxidation.
Wow. So our body automatically is releasing that.
It should be, but because of gut damage, we don't make hydrogen the way we're supposed to.
Okay, so gut damage is, correct me if I'm wrong, is what really hurts our gut is the things that we're eating, like the fast food and stuff like that. Is that correct?
I wouldn't say fast food. I would say pesticides,
Pesticides,
chemicals. I would say
everything we eat. I'm playing.
Antibiotics that are,
Uh-huh.
if you use an antibiotic when you don't have a life-threatening bacterial infection, probably not a good thing to do. But if you do have a life-threatening bacterial infection and you take an antibiotic, which would be good to do, then you need to restore your gut biome and your terrain. And that's what doesn't happen. And that, quite honestly, is the problem. That's the problem, is we wiped out our gut bacteria, and then we don't rebuild it back up. And so that's a problem.
Wow. So what are some of the things that since you've been, I call this water journey, and helping get, because you have the Eco Ultimate, the Eco Go, you have an entire water system, that you can help people to not only put in their home, but also to attach it to their water systems they currently have. What are some of the stories that you've seen that people have had and they've noticed a major change, just like your wife?
Well, there's been many over the years now. It's been,
say your top 5 that you really
probably the most impactful for me was a gentleman many years ago that had tremors.
Oh, wow.
And he drank 2 glasses of water. This was at a trade show, a medical trade show. And he had tremors, and he drank 2 small glasses of our water. And he came back and he said, "Look at my hands. They're still." And he goes, "I feel tingling in my brain. What the heck happened?" And I said, "Ghrelin secretions. You haven't had gastric ghrelin." And so the hydrogen gas selectively stimulated gastric ghrelin, and that went to the hippocampus, the hypothalamus, and the brainstem to normalize brain function, change plasticity, balance out the brain. So that's probably one of the most impactful. I would say that another one that was very personal, my father, who had high A1C levels years ago, began drinking the water and his A1C levels dropped. Another one is friends of ours from the church that we go to. Their son was 17, 18 years old, but was, like on the spectrum, and wasn't, you could tell when he would communicate or what have you, you could tell that the speech patterns were different. So now after they met us, we moved into the area and we started going to church there. And they got to know us, and they purchased one of our water systems. And literally to this day, you wouldn't know if he had any developmental issues or anything of the kind. When he is communicating, speech patterns are normal. He within about 6 months of drinking the water, told his mom what business he wanted to start.
Stop.
And she's like, "Paul, this has changed all of us in our family, but it's definitely changed him." And so, it's things like that to me are very impactful and very powerful when it comes to very significant issues or serious issues, and someone else having a before and after or a cause and effect. It's amazing.
How about, as you know, we've been, I just say it, plagued with this coronavirus for the last couple of years. It's been very interesting. Have you noticed that you had maybe a lot of people come to you talking about maybe brain fog? Because I know that's a huge thing. Have you seen anybody say that they've noticed a major difference in brain fog or anything like that?
Absolutely. Again, it's the ghrelin secretions that change cognitive function or improve brain function. So you definitely have people that, that changes almost instantly, because within 3 minutes, the brain is changed, because ghrelin secretions will be going to the hippocampus, the hypothalamus, and the brainstem within minutes. So, there's before and after images on, EEG, brain mapping and what have you. Also body composition. Body composition is another huge one that we see where people are changing the water content in the cells versus out of the cells and the ionic minerals in the cells versus out of the cell. It's also very quick.
Well, so I noticed you're mentioning, I'm going to probably say it incorrectly and chop it, but in ghrelin, you said ghrelins?
Ghrelin, yeah. Ghrelin.
Yeah, could you, I mean, for us people that are layman people out here, how could you break that down in third grade?
Ghrelin and leptin are master hormones and they're related. Leptin tells you to stop eating. They call ghrelin the hunger hormone. So not that it makes you hungry, but when you are hungry, your body should secrete ghrelin, which sharpens the mind and does a number of other things. Well, hydrogen also selectively stimulates ghrelin secretions, which there are studies on neurologic issues, Parkinson's, Alzheimer's, autism, bipolar, schizophrenia, that due to low ghrelin secretion levels, there are these neurologic issues. And so some of them are saying it's because of low ghrelin secretions, especially with autism, young boys with autism. There was a study on that. So you get higher ghrelin into the body, you get ghrelin as a hormone in the body, and next thing you know, you're going to have improvement. So it's just hydrogen. And again, your body is supposed to produce it on its own. And so if it doesn't, then you have a bunch of issues.
Wow. It's hilarious because I hear a lot about gut health. And I'm hearing about you need to take these type of pills, you need to eat this type of food. I mean, not saying that none of those will work, but when you started mentioning it helping your gut right away, it kind of got me excited. And then I talked to my wife about that. She's like, okay, we need to look at the system. Let's talk about this. I know that you have, like I said, you have the Eco Go and the Eco Ultimate. You also have an entire water solution for the home. If you wouldn't mind maybe sharing a little bit about that with us.
Sure. Yeah. So we have the Eco Go, which is a portable unit. We have all the way up to the Eco Ultimate. That's a full machine that makes 4 types of water, filters water, adds frequencies to water. So we have everything from $149 to, $5,000, let's say, anywhere on someone's budget, we can fit them in. And so the reality is that we have the opportunity, or we have the way to change people's life on any budget that they have.
Wow. Could we see one of those little to-go machines, the 10-ounce one?
Yeah. So here is, you can kind of see the
bubbles. So you have the bubbles coming up. So what does that do when we click on that?
So hydrogen gas is, you can see hydrogen gas is going in, and out the bottom, oxygen is coming out. And so we're separating water molecules. The water molecules that are in here, we're separating them into H2 and O. And then the hydrogen we put in the water, the oxygen we put out to atmosphere. And that's simply what we're doing. But, you can see the fact that you've got hydrogen right there coming
and you can
up.
Put any type of water in there.
Well, it needs to be purified. The cleaner, the better, for sure. But
okay.
Yeah.
And then you have reverse osmosis machines too. Is that correct?
Yes, we have reverse osmosis filtration. We have reverse osmosis that's going to really make pure water. It's going to clean all the mess out of water, the contaminants. It's going to remove heavy metals, pesticides, pharmaceuticals, whatever. And it's going to get you pure water. And then you can put that water into one of our machines, like this one right here, the server, that's a smaller unit that is designed to go with an RO or some sort of filtration system, because there's no filter in that one. But we have multiple machines, and we have portable devices that are battery operated, like I just showed you right there. We have another one right here that's a pitcher that's a half a gallon, and it has a battery in it. So you can, use rechargeable, just charge it up like, any other rechargeable. Yeah. And then take it on a trip or use it at the office or whatever you want.
Okay. So this is kind of going out to a lot of our doctors out there that have practices. And
Nice.
I noticed you were telling me that a lot of your doctors that are putting this into their practices, and of course, they love it so much that they're selling to others so they can have it to either their home or other people's practices. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Sure. So we have hundreds of doctors' offices, and we look to have thousands here soon. They get our Echo H2 machine typically, and then they share the water with the patient or client, and the patient or client feels a benefit within a short time, like an hour. I mean, happens quick. And then after doing that, they're like, wow, I feel amazing. I want to get a system. And so there's two options. Some doctors who are more comfortable educating their patients or clients, they can communicate the message. And we train them with our Synergy Science University. We have full training for the medical professionals and people that want to promote our products. We also have specialized trained people who can talk to the patients or clients of the doctor's offices. And what we ask them to do is send us the information for that client or patient, and we'll go ahead and call that individual on behalf of the doctor's office and answer all their questions, make sure they know everything that they need to know. That's what we do.
Awesome. And then do you guys have any like financing? Just wondering if
we do. We have excellent financing. We have 1 year same as cash programs. We have, 3-year programs. We have all kinds of programs for low monthly payments. Yeah.
awesome. So are you going to be, I believe you said you were talking about you're going to be doing a seminar soon. Is there maybe
we are in our building. We have Dr. Fab Mancini. We have some other doctors, myself speaking, and we're going to be in our corporate headquarters at the end of September, Pleasant Grove, Utah, in our event center, in our corporate offices. And we look to have 250 doctors coming to have a nice little small group learning about hydrogen and the effects in the body.
Awesome. I just want to say, Dr. Paul, thank you so much for being on the show. I love what you do. Like I told you, my wife's looking at purchasing some of the water systems. Most likely she'll just buy the whole thing.
Yeah.
But with that being said, I just want to say thank you so much. And I look forward to having you on the show again, because I love what you do. And thank you for your beautiful story. And I'm so glad that your wife is doing much better.
Thank you so much.
Definitely. And again, thank you.